new horizon and a day it all came true. Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, oh home sweet home, home sweet home.
Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. Here's your host, Russ McClellan.
Hey, welcome to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan. Thanks for tuning in. How is everybody? You know, we're doing a lot of business right now, and it's exciting because we're growing fast. And you know, a couple years ago, this is our second full calendar year. We're up about 50% in transactions and revenue, and we've paid out almost $3 million in commissions. It's hard to believe that we're only a little over 2 years old and going into our second full calendar year. And the reason we're able to have so much fun is really two parts. One, we have an incredible leadership team, and I just want to shout out to them. Taylor Stimmel, who's our CEO and team leader, Luke Groen, who's one of our partners, and his wife, Sydney, Kelly Hain, who's our market center administrator and also happens to be my sister and a saint because she also takes care of our mom who has dementia. And Stephanie Jones is our managing broker, so she's kind of the air traffic controller of detail. And what's fun about this is that we're all in alignment and we all understand one thing, that our brokers that work at Keller Williams really are our clients. And that's kind of an unusual way to look at it. I think historical top-down management type companies where the designated broker usually was the owner, not always, but basically it was I captain the ship, I've taken the risk, I get the return. One of the very different things about the culture of Keller Williams and what has allowed Keller Williams since the founder Gary Keller in 1983 opened it to become the largest real estate company on the planet with about 56 or so countries and about 170 plus thousand agents worldwide, is that we are for agents by agents, not for owners by owners. And with that, I'm excited to introduce today a couple agents that are with us. And one is with me right now in the KW studio. Good morning, Diana Peters.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you know, we've known each other about a year, I think, and you've been in the real estate business about a year. What has that year been like? And welcome back to the fold.
It's actually been interesting. I've learned a lot, and it's been challenging because I do work another job, and so I let my customers know that there are times where I have to focus in on that other job, but I always come back to them, and I like the one-on-one service that I'm able to provide to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I've already learned about you is you're a driven person. And you said something to me a few days ago that I thought had resonated with me, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. We often have more than one full-time job, so to speak. We just don't always call it that. Like you've raised kids.
Correct.
Right? Is that a full-time job?
Oh, that was.
Mine are 28, 23, and it seems like they will always be my kids, and there will always be things to do and talk about, and so that job never really ends. But so often we don't realize that, you know, the rule of 168, which is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, gives us a lot more time if managed correctly and efficiently than we might realize. We were just talking off air about how often when you go to a real estate office or any office, really, you spend a lot of time by the water cooler or by the coffee pot or at lunch.
Exactly.
And then you go home and you go, wow, why didn't I get anything done? Or like we said, that inevitable rabbit hole of social media that sucks your brain right out, right into those rabbit holes, and you you look up and it's been an hour and a half, and you know everything about Norwegian basket weaving, but it really has nothing to do with real estate, right? So with your drive and your focus, I think you're right. You know, your ability to be an amazing real estate broker, even though you have a full-time career, isn't a bad thing sometimes. How would you say that with your focus on your individual clients, how that can be an asset to them? Because you probably pick and choose who you're going to work with.
I do, and I let them know in the beginning that I am always available via cell phone or text messaging, and I prioritize a lot of things. I am an early morning person, so I try to get my first job done for the day. Or I will shuffle things around. I do have that ability with the first job that I can shuffle those things around and focus in on the real estate and then go back to the other job. So that has given me that extra flexibility when I need that. But I'd have to say I'm definitely a type A personality. And if I can get something extra done in that day by getting up an extra half an hour early, then that's what I do.
Yeah. It's funny because I have to be careful. I also get up pretty early, and every once in a while I don't catch myself, but I'm firing off emails to my leadership team at 3:34 in the morning, and they're like, "What are you doing, jerk?" You know, it's just yesterday in my world. So it's kind of funny that we all have a different. The thing about real estate that I love so much is we all have a different approach. There's so many ways to do this business. Mm-hmm. And I think your focus on real estate in the last year, you were with us briefly and you went to a different company, and then you've come back. And just in the last few days, I think we've had the opportunity, because you actually live fairly close to Chelan. And with that, you're going to be working perhaps with our Frontline real estate team. And I was able to introduce you to Tom and Marcia and Lois and Trish that are all part of that team based out of Chelan. And what were some of the things that maybe you were surprised by, even just in the initial few meetings?
Well, I loved all of their positivity. Mm-hmm. The fact that they were willing to take me aside, ask me additional questions, offer their assistance, scheduled to meet with Tom tomorrow for him to show me more and on how he does things, and I'm excited about learning that. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite computer savvy, and so he said that he's taught numerous other individuals that are definitely not computer savvy, and they've picked it all up. So I'm excited about that. I do love learning. So if there's more that's given to me, I'll absorb it like a sponge, and then try to squeeze out where I can and how I can do that. Lois gave me a personal phone call and of course their business card, so I have direct contact with them at any point if I needed anything. It was a wonderful experience, and they are all wonderful, loving individuals.
Yeah, the fun thing about Keller Williams, you'll find this, and I don't know exactly how Gary Keller figured all this out. I guess one of the things that we do that's very different than any other real estate company that I'm aware of is we profit share. And we profit share based on bonuses on who made the money, right? And why did they join our firm? So we actually incentivize people to tell the story of Keller Williams, and we want to grow. I mean, that's one of the things we do. At 49% above an expense line that's predictable. So typically, I think that might lead into the culture of generosity and openness and selflessness, but also I think it just attracts a certain, when you act a certain way from the leadership team, where you realize that we're always smarter as a collective than we are as an individual. I've been in the real estate business 32 years. I started when I was 19 years old, right? But we have 19-year-olds in our real estate company right now, and I'm pushing 52. Well, the fun thing about that is you mentioned technology, where that 19-year-old is probably born with an iPad or a laptop in his crib, right? I didn't get introduced to that till late college, right? A computer, and it was a very old one, like an Apple IIe, I think I started with. The point of that is that we all learn from each other. And if you're in that learning-based mindset, great things can happen for your clients and for yourself. And one of my personal goals, which I know you believe this too, and excited about, but my goal is to transition people or transform people's lives that are real estate brokers, using real estate as the vehicle to do that. I mean, there's so much happening. I mean, you've probably noticed it in your day job or even in real estate, how many people are moving here.
Oh, exactly.
Right. And with that, they're bringing a different economic base, because a lot of people are coming from the west side of the Cascades. The forced adoption of technology and the work from home, the embracing of work from home attitudes by employers is allowing people to literally live where there's 300 days of sunshine and make the same amount of money they used to have to live in Seattle to make. Okay, well, part of the challenge with that is that brings higher prices, because that demand curve is out of control, right? I say this in the most polite term, but it's an invasion. And real estate is sometimes an avenue like yourself where you can have a day job and then transition, if you choose to, into a full-time career. And we've actually have people like Leslie Bitterman and Melody that are, Michael Shipley just quit his job. Leslie's transitioning. It's exciting to watch. So when we come back, this show's made up of 4 segments. The last segment's built for prime lending, and we talk about finance. But if you don't mind, we'll come back and talk just a little bit more. And I have a couple questions I want to ask you.
Wonderful. Sounds great.
All right. We'll be right back in a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan, operating partner and designated broker of Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. Hey, I'm excited to say we are growing at an unprecedented rate. We're almost 70 real estate brokers and popping about 3 deals a day in some cases. It's really pretty fun. And the reason I wanted to do an ad today was about our people. The culture of Keller Williams is really simple this. We believe in an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. What does that mean? Well, although we're competitive, we all go out and try to get some similar listings. And with almost 70 people, you might think that that's a problem. But in reality, with an abundant mindset, we know that for us to win, you don't have to lose. With our creative marketing that is unbelievable, with our operating system Command, we're reaching literally hundreds of thousands of people instantly. So if you're interested in selling or buying with one of our agents, trust me, you won't be disappointed. Give us a call at our office, 509-888-0038, or email me direct at russ@frontlinechelan.com. If you're interested in getting real estate, this is Russ McClellan. I'm the operating partner at Keller Williams. We are unbelievably busy. You might have heard real estate's a pretty hot topic. We have people that are part-time agents that are simply referral agents. We have people that have full-time jobs and they're transitioning into making real estate a career. We have people that want to sell real estate when they retire from their job. You would be surprised what we can do for you. Give my friend Taylor Stimmel, our CEO, or myself, Russ McClellan, a call anytime, 509-888-0038.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And here's Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And today I've got Diana Peters. How you doing, Diana?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. You're back in the real estate business with us here at Keller Williams, and you're probably going to be joining the Frontline real estate team powered by Keller Williams.
Correct.
It's a possibility, right? And I'm thrilled about that because we are overloaded with leads, and we have lots and lots of work to do. So one of the things that is cool about what you're doing is you're going to be an inspiration. I can already tell that you're going to inspire a lot of other people that are in their current career. And you can show people how in real estate you can do both. And, we embrace that. We actually have systems for that. And then will be up to you whether you decide someday to you retire. I mean, everybody eventually retires from their day job, even if they love it. And then real estate's a fun job because you can do it forever.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, and that actually is my goal. I've given myself a 8-year plan, which I'm down to 7 now.
Great.
And plan to do the real estate full time at that point, and maybe even sooner.
Yeah. And so what's kind of fun is that you're kind of an outgoing person. I want to talk about your nickname, Shotzi.
Yes. Yes.
That's on your license plate, huh?
Yes, it is. My maiden name was Schatzman. And of course, because I'm German, and born and raised Frankfurt, Germany, all my family, short of my kids and grandkids, are all over in Frankfurt. But when I went to school, the teachers would shorten it to Schatzi, which in German means sweetheart. So took it as a compliment and went with it.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Now, I want to put your numbers out there in your email in case people want to talk to you, and you should, because you're hungry, you're focused, you're driven, and you get up early. So for those early risers, it's even better. Diana Peters, you can get a hold of her at her cell number 360. Got a pen? Grab that pen. 360-280-2561. Or you can email her, petersrealtyncw@gmail.com. I want to make sure everybody knows that. Diana Peters, we're going to have some fun. At our company, we believe really in 4 simple rules. Know your product, be yourself, be honest, and do it today, not tomorrow. And if you do those 4 things, and you care about people, and you care about your clients in the fiduciary sense, great things are going to happen. Let me ask you something. What is it about real estate that really initially, you've only been licensed for a year, but you've come a long ways. But when you look back at that year, what was it that made real estate exciting for you? What was it that got you sparked in the beginning?
It was something that myself and my daughter were going to do together. And when my daughter was younger, we would go to different open houses and meet different realtors over on the coast, and we just loved it. We, the nosiness of seeing the inside of all these homes and talking to the other realtors. We'd always talked about doing it together. We were both doing our training, our classes, and unfortunately, my daughter passed away 2 years ago at age 25, and it took me a couple of months to get back into it. And so now everything that I do, I know my daughter is sitting right there on my shoulders, and she's my motivation.
Wow, that's an amazing, tragic but inspirational story that you followed through with a dream that you collectively had. And I feel very blessed that you're with us. I don't know if you know Cinda. Cinda Bragg went through something very similar.
Yeah, nope.
She's up in Republic, and sadly, her daughter was 21 years old and got cancer. And so you guys might connect. And that's the beautiful thing about Keller Williams. We really are a family, and we all are human, right? We all have been through unique things. And sometimes I think when you're isolated or you feel alone, it can be, even worse. And if you can share some of these experiences, vulnerable like you just did, which is very authentic and very admirable. That's the cool thing about having a big group of people that care about each other, because it is something that you can lean into. We have a program called KW Cares, where one of our brokers' mother unfortunately passed away, and he was on the radio show. His name's Seth Stevens, and he was blown away that he was sitting in a class in in Bellingham at Western Washington University. And it was sudden, and it was tragic, and we were able to help him out with $5,000 that was deposited into his account to help pay for the services of his mother.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know if other companies do something similar. Hopefully they do. But I know that we ask our agents, it's not mandatory, but we ask them to at least put in $10 a transaction voluntarily. And if you think about it, if 170,000 people do that, pretty soon, Gary Keller, has semis that he sends into areas like Katy, Texas, when the hurricane hit. We actually went down there and mucked out houses as a group to help flood victims of the hurricane or fire victims. And, you know, the idea that Keller Williams is just about real estate just isn't the case. So I really feel honored when people share stories like that, and the inspiration that you can give other people by not only surviving a tragedy, but then turning it into a positive, because you and your daughter loved houses. And boy, that's pretty touching. And it's very, you know, it's exciting. My dad was my best friend. He passed away in April, and we worked together for about 30 years. And it was funny because I thought he was going to live forever. In hindsight, right? And I know this, that it's not comparable to anybody, or especially losing a son or a daughter, but it was the first time I dealt with it, you know, in my way. And it was helpful to have such good friends at Keller Williams. And so I think the point I'm trying to make is we're always going to be there. Real estate is something that we do, but it's not who we are. You know, we are people that care about each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And being nosy about open houses is a good reason to start.
Well, and I do let my clients know that too, when they apologize for such short notice on seeing a home, and it's like, nope, I saw this also. I'm nosy too. I'd love to see the inside also. So
that's great. And, you know, that's one of the 4
factor.
rules, right? Know your product. You're going to sell widgets, you got to know the widgets, right? If you're going to sell houses, you better be nosy. You got to know all about it. That's exciting. I mean, and it's fun, too, because we have such a support system where whatever someone's goals are. Now, if someone comes to us like Lois, and who's on our team, and Lois had a full-time job, and she was able to transition completely away from that and go 100%. Well, within a few months, she has 6 pending. She just sold $1 million place, and she's just locking and loading. So whether you're going to handle a handful of clients that you're going to devote your time and energy to, because you know that you have other obligations in a day job, that doesn't mean that they're going to be less, because the good news when you're on a team like Frontline Real Estate, you know, powered by Keller Williams or Keller Williams in general, you can always lean into other people.
Yes.
And so you're able to, you're like an army. You're backed by an army of people. We're pushing 70 agents, like I mentioned. And our goals, I kind of think we're just getting warmed up.
Exactly. Exactly.
They were giving me a hard time. I don't know if you ever saw the cowboy sign that I had invented.
No.
Yeah, years ago, when we first started a couple of years ago, I had a sign that had an emoji with a cowboy hat on it, and then it just said NCW Real Estate. And that was our transitional company until we got the franchise approved. And they were giving me a hard time, and they took my design authority away from me after. So, yeah, every morning we get together and we talk about things. And because you're our client as a real estate broker at Keller Williams, we want to make sure that whatever your needs are, that's what we're doing as a leadership team. And that one of the things I can commit to you is that we will always be learning based. We will never be satisfied. We'll be appreciative and we will be content in the moment, but that doesn't mean we don't have improvement, because being learning based, I often say that the definition of mastery is simply really finally realizing that you know very little, and that the world has infinite knowledge, right? And every transaction is uniquely different. So I'm excited to welcome you onto the team and enjoy helping educate you with all of our tools and system and technology and command, and showing you how to lead generate at a very high level where we can stop paying that company with a Z in front of it that tends to take a lot of agents' money. I mean, I know people that are spending $100,000 a year on bolt-on technology when you get everything for $25 a month with our command operating system.
Exactly.
Yeah, so... Well, again, I'm talking with Diana Peters, a brand new real estate broker with Frontline Real Estate Team in Keller Williams. You can get a hold of Diana at 360-280-2561, or you can email Diana Peters, or otherwise known as Shotzi, at petersrealtyncw@gmail.com. Thank you for sharing your story.
Well, thank you for having me. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to do some fun things together. And as always, with real estate as our vehicle, we're going to start to transform lives together and continue to learn.
Looking forward to it.
All right. We'll be back with Courtney as we introduce another one of our real estate brokers here today on Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Oh, sweet home. Oh, sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan, operating partner and designated broker of Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. Hey, I'm excited to say we are growing at an unprecedented rate. We're almost 70 real estate brokers and popping about 3 deals a day in some cases. It's really pretty fun. And the reason I wanted to do an ad today was about our people. The culture of Keller Williams is really simple this. We believe in an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. What does that mean? Well, although we're competitive, we all go out and try to get some similar listings. And with almost 70 people, you might think that that's a problem. But in reality, with an abundant mindset, we know that for us to win, you don't have to lose. With our creative marketing that is unbelievable, with our operating system Command, we're reaching literally hundreds of thousands of people instantly. So if you're interested in selling or buying with one of our agents, trust me, you won't be disappointed. Give us a call at our office, 509-888-0038, or email me direct at russ@frontlinechelan.com. Hi, this is Russ McClellan, designated broker and operating partner of Keller Williams Realty NCW. We have almost 70 agents and growing rapidly. We're almost a legit company now with over 2.5 years experience. The good news is this: if you're thinking about changing your life, my goal and my mission to you is to help you transform the life that you deserve and that you want, using real estate as the vehicle to do that. What does that mean? Well, it means whatever you want it to mean. If you want to work part-time, I'll show you how to do it. If you want to work full-time, I'll show you how to do it. And I'm also willing to show and demonstrate our commitment to you and our conviction to our company and transparency by giving you any of the numbers of any of the 70 people that work at Keller Williams. We're a family, we care about each other, and we care about you. So if you want to change your life, you want to get into real estate and have some fun, let's get together and talk. 509-888-0038. Give me a call anytime. You can also call my cell phone at 509-470-2416.
You're tuned to Russ McClellan and Friends on the real estate show Home Sweet Home. Let's get back to Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. And I'm very blessed and very lucky to have 2 friends today, which is always exciting that I still have 2 friends in the world. Diana Peters was awesome to talk to. And now I have Courtney Clites on the phone calling in from the big city of L-Town, Leavenworth. How you doing, Courtney?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Now, you joined our firm, and you've been very, very busy. You've had some big transactions going, but you joined right before the land of COVID started in March, right?
I did.
Now, if somebody was out there, Courtney, thinking about getting into real estate, what would you say to them is the difference between Keller Williams and most other firms?
Well, when I came from RE/MAX, I was with RE/MAX before, and RE/MAX didn't offer a lot of growth as far as self-improvement, classes to better yourself, that kind of stuff. So I'm actually really impressed with Keller Williams and all the opportunities they have. They have so many different things that are available to new agents, to seasoned agents. It's just really impressed me.
Yeah, that's, one of the things, I've been in real estate 32 years, and about 30 of that I owned a small boutique firms in my hometown of Chelan. And when I started learning about all the things I didn't know by people a heck of a lot smarter than me, it was kind of exciting. And when you're in a company that's the largest on the planet, we implement in leadership a program called R&D, which to most people innately stands for research and development. But in Keller Williams culture, it stands for rip off and duplicate. Because we're a learning-based company. In fact, Gary Keller, years ago in 1983, said, we're basically an education and training company that happens to sell real estate. And you're right. I mean, it really doesn't matter what level you want to go to. I think it's quite fascinating that if you're open-minded, you can do this business in a number of different ways, and you can learn anything that you want to learn, right? Especially now in the land of COVID, in the digital age, we are essentially transitioned to a technology company now that happens to sell real estate. So how do you feel about, since March, I mean, you have a family, you're a busy mom, you have a husband, you're running and gunning. How do you feel real estate fits into that? So if you were talking to other people that wanted to expand their career, but maybe they were, single moms, or maybe they were working a full-time job, what are some of the things that you would share with them if they were inspired, but they're afraid?
Well, I think as a mom, first and foremost, you're always worried about being able to be there for your kids, especially with distance learning. And I've been able to work from home as well as handle everything with the school, and it's been great. And Keller Williams, especially our team, has been so instrumental in me doing that. You guys are always available. I can always reach somebody right away. It took all the fear out of it. I was a little weary when COVID did happen. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to be able to do this? But it's been flawless. I haven't had any issue with it. And I strongly encourage anybody that's thinking about real estate to just try it. I mean, if you don't try, you'll never know.
Right. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, said, he was the Hall of Fame hockey player. He said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, my kids are 28 and 23 and grown up, but you have kids that are in school. What are some of those challenges that's a 180-degree difference with COVID and trying to learn from home? I bet that's very challenging.
It can be really challenging, but it's so good at the same time. It's really, I look at it like a blessing to have my kids home with me. We have our moments. Things are tough. There's days I lose it a little bit with them, but overall, I want them to know that they matter and I'm happy they're here, and it's all for the best, all for their best interest. We just kind of go with it.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, the difference between an adventure and an ordeal is simply attitude.
Yes, absolutely. It's all about how you look at it.
Yeah, well, mindset's a very important component. Are you involved in the coaching with Fletcher Ellingson right now?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
I didn't want to quite take that on
right
at this time. Like, it's also knowing my limits. Like, that's a really big thing, because I am one of those realtors that wants to do all of it,
right,
all the time. So it's about balance for me right now. Same with my clients. Like, I give my clients everything. I genuinely care about each person I work with, and I want to make sure I have the time for each person.
Yeah, well, that's a very good point. I mean, I've seen a lot of people in 3 decades of being in this business burn out, right? It can become a very high burnout game, because it does kind of, if you're not guarded or at least aware of your time, you can easily end up working 20 hours a day. And that's obviously not healthy for your own health, but it's not healthy for your relationships or your children. And I think you touched on a very important component, that knowing your limits isn't a bad thing. And then B, as you communicate what your desires are, we can help you as a leadership team. And I appreciate what you said, because I really do. We meet every morning, a couple calls with my leadership team every day, and we often talk about what is it that our brokers need. And the funny thing about that is it's different for every one of them. So the communication is important, that we can help supplement whatever you need. And then your realization that, hey, these are my priorities, and you communicate that with your team. So would you say that's fair? And would you say to people that are thinking about it, like, wow, they're going to ask that I do floor time every day, or they're going to ask that I do open houses every Saturday, and I got kids' soccer games. And so would you be able to honestly tell people that are afraid for those hypotheticals that that's not what's going to happen?
I 100% agree with you there. It's not that way at all. It's what works for you, and you guys have been so supportive. Just everyone has been so supportive. It has really given me peace of mind with this whole thing. And I would encourage anybody that is just thinking about it, like if they want to, they could even reach out to me personally, like over the phone or over email. And I'd be happy to just calm any kind of fear anybody might have about it.
Well, while we're talking about it, let me kick your number out there. If you want to get a hold of Courtney on her cell phone, it's 206-579-9458. I'll say it again, so get that pin. Courtney's amazing. 206-579-9458. Or you can email Courtney at Courtney Clites, CLITES, @kw.com. And I can assure you that this is true because you developed a relationship with Trish Graham that is now a full-time employee with Keller Williams, and you introduced her to our firm, and we snatched her from another company, and she's helping us tremendously. So I owe you a very big debt of gratitude because she probably saved my life.
Isn't Trish amazing?
She's great.
Trish is an amazing person, and believe it or not, I met her over the phone.
Yeah, that's the cool part because you're not just blowing smoke here. You actually had a relationship with someone that just called you, and then you communicated, never met. You hooked her up with me. I and my leadership team had a few interviews with her, and we were like blown away. So now she's on our leadership team, just like that.
Right. I know, and she's one of my dear friends now. It's pretty amazing how that happened.
Yeah. It is incredible how many cool people there are, and in a time where it's real easy to be polarized, or real easy to allow ideology politically or the negativity of judgment on social media to kind of infiltrate your life. One of the cool things about Keller Williams is we try to kind of just stay positive, right? We're not really about talking negatively about other people. We're really about talking positively about what we can do for our clients. And I think that spirit is benefited from all the great people that, as we push almost 70 real estate brokers in North Central Washington, we have people in just about every town in North Central Washington now, all the way to Canada. So it's kind of fun, isn't it? I mean, it's just, you get to meet a lot of cool people.
It is. And I think that the culture that you guys have really grown with Keller Williams North Central Washington is pretty amazing. It's not like a competitive culture like you would think. It's really more of like a family. Like we're all going to lift each other up and help each other grow. And it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to struggle, because I know, like, if I'm struggling with something, I can reach out to you or to Kelly or to one of the other Keller Williams family members, and we have each other's backs, and that's really cool.
Yeah, it is a competitive business, but
it is a competitive business. You're right, but not a competitive brokerage.
Right. To have an abundant mindset is simply, to me, means for me to win. It means you don't have to lose. There's enough business for everyone, versus that scarcity mindset out there, which is still alive and well, that for me to win, you do have to lose. And we just don't operate on that frequency. So, well, I appreciate you calling in, taking the time with your busy schedule of selling lots of real estate and raising lots of kids and all the good stuff that you're doing. I feel blessed to have you in our circle of trust, as they say, and be in our family. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, we'll be right back with our fourth segment with Prime Lending when we come back. Thanks for tuning in to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, home sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan, operating partner and designated broker of Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. Hey, I'm excited to say we are growing at an unprecedented rate. We're almost 70 real estate brokers and popping about 3 deals a day in some cases. It's really pretty fun. And the reason I wanted to do an ad today was about our people. The culture of Keller Williams is really simple this. We believe in an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. What does that mean? Well, although we're competitive, we all go out and try to get some similar listings. And with almost 70 people, you might think that that's a problem. But in reality, with an abundant mindset, we know that for us to win, you don't have to lose. With our creative marketing that is unbelievable, with our operating system Command, we're reaching literally hundreds of thousands of people instantly. So if you're interested in selling or buying with one of our agents, trust me, you won't be disappointed. Give us a call at our office, 509-888-0038, or email me direct at russ@frontlinechelan.com.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. And here's Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. It's always a great time to introduce people like Courtney and Diana Peters to our real estate family. And most importantly, what I love about those scenarios is that they're completely inspirational to so many people, especially in North Central Washington, that, this land of COVID's made it difficult. It's not a normal scenario where you can just go get a side gig bartending or a side gig making some extra money. But real estate really can be a vehicle that transforms your life, whether you want to be a referral agent or transition out of your current job into a full-time job. There's two amazing ladies that I feel very lucky to have on board. I got Michael Maher now with Prime Lending in our fourth segment. We always talk about finance and lending. How you doing, Michael?
Good, Russ. How you doing?
Great. Busy. Right. Busy. I thought maybe we could dive into a few things. Now, one of the things we talked about, we always talk about, but we've been talking about a lot, is this appreciation that we're experiencing. Could you explain to people what some of the opportunities are with you and Prime Lending with an equity margin that continues to increase almost at a monthly basis?
Definitely. Yeah. So it seems to be that, we don't know when this might slow down or if it's going to, because of how many people are mass exiting the west side and coming over to North Central. And with that and all the appreciation we're seeing, it's given people a lot of value in a short amount of time. Even people that maybe put minimum down 1-2 years ago have possibly 20% or more equity in their homes, which opens up some unique opportunities for them. And I'm working with quite a few families right now that are not only buying second homes, but also buying investment properties to take advantage of these low rates. And they're utilizing the equity that they've built over the last few years in their primary residences or even their second homes, and taking that money and using it as a down payment to put down on, other real estate. So that can come in a few different forms. It can either be something as simple as a cash out refinance, where basically you're actually pulling money out of the equity of your home and you're restarting and you're re-amortizing your loan either to a 30, 25, 20, or 15-year mortgage, and you're actually getting that money in cash and it's deposited into your bank and you can utilize it however you want at that point. A way that you can utilize but equity a little bit easier, maybe not as in depth as re-amortizing a loan and restarting on a loan, is getting a home equity line of credit, where you actually have a second loan on your home for X amount of dollars. And then you can actually pull from that equity line of credit anytime you want and have the cash to utilize it to make home repairs, buy an investment property. There's kind of the sky's the limit that you can do with it, but it's giving a lot of these people right now a unique opportunity to take advantage of that in such a low rate environment. So the money is, after write-offs, consult a CPA first, but it can almost be free money at this point.
Yeah, one of the things I hear a lot is, well, if I sell, for example, I have to buy, and so I'm just going to have to pay retail. Or if it's maybe I'm late to the party, and maybe if I pull that money and I go buy something, it's going to crash. Well, that could be true, but here's what I say. It's really driven by Econ 101, supply and demand. And if you think about Chelan County, it's approximately 88% owned by the government. That means there's only about 12% available lands for investment. Then you have infrastructure, topography, zoning, all of these supply constraints, governmental agencies. Okay, so that narrows down the developed potential of land to a very finite amount of real estate. And like the grandpappies always say, you know, they ain't making any more dirt, right? And when you offset that with, I don't know, millions of people that have just been told they can work where they play because our employers are now embracing in the post-COVID technology adoption, you can now work remotely. Not everybody, but a lot of people. So when you look at that basic supply and demand curve, I don't know where we're going to end up, but I know this. Real estate, since I've been in the North Central Washington area in the Lake Chelan Valley, it's never really gone down that much. And if it did, it was in the Great Recession and it was temporary. So over the long run, I think you're going to be in good shape by tapping that equity and then going to prime lending to borrow money at literally historical low rates.
Yeah, definitely. And just so long as you're utilizing the equity in a, you know, responsible manner and not, you know, maybe treating it like a credit card or buying side-by-sides or quads and things like that. I would never usually encourage someone to do that. But if you're utilizing it in a, you know, a good, responsible way with everything that's going on in this area, I mean, the opportunity is truly endless.
You bursted my bubble, man. I was heading to the casino with my equity. What the heck? I thought roulette was a good investment. Dang it. What the hell? I was watching YouTube videos all morning.
Put it all on black, man. Just put it all on black.
There you go. Double up, double up, double up.
Right?
When I play blackjack, I always tell the dealers, all right, guys, if we win 237 hands in a row, I'll buy you a new car.
I like it.
And I usually lose about two or, you know, win about two. The other thing that we talked about because of the appreciation, the jumbo loans. Maybe you could explain to people that aren't familiar with that terminology what a jumbo loan is and what's changing about it.
Definitely. So what a lot of people may not realize about loans and the different loan types out there, there's kind of the big four. There's conventional, FHA, VA, and USD. I won't go into the specifics on them, but on conventional, there's an actual loan limit for every county in the state and actually in the country. It's usually determined on the average medium income, the average price. There's a few factors that go into determining what that max loan amount you're allowed to have before it reaches jumbo territory. So in Chelan and Douglas County right now in 2020, that loan amount is $510,400. So a loan amount for a standard loan cannot go over that. You can still get a loan if you have a loan that goes over that, but then it pushes you into jumbo territory. And what jumbos are is they are a non-conforming loan, so they don't have to abide by typical Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac guidelines. And with that, they can do some creative things that a normal loan may not do. However, on the flip side, they tend to be a little bit more strict, and they really value people that have money in the bank and reserves to show that they can continue making the payment. So with jumbo, when COVID first hit and this entire thing happened and kicked off, most jumbo loans went away and they were gone and people could not get them for a while. They've since, because we've kind of stabilized and things are normalized a little bit, they're starting to make a comeback, and we actually were only allowing 20% downs on jumbos, or the jumbos, the investors themselves were only allowing, but we actually recently just got word that we now have a 10% down back. And who knows, you know, up until that point, there were some 5% jumbos that were allowing. So those haven't made a comeback yet, but 10% is awesome. Because if somebody had a loan and those 10% weren't down, you were having to get a second loan on the property, and then you were having two payments versus having just one 10% down jumbo that allows you to just have one payment with a lower interest rate. So it's good news with appreciation. Also the good news is that typically on a yearly basis, the loan amounts change. And if an area is exploding like North Central Washington, I would assume, and all signs would point to those loan limits increasing as they did last year as well. So let's hope that continues to happen. But the benefit is there are options out there for people that are purchasing in that higher price range to get a loan and not need to jump through too many hoops to acquire them.
Yeah. One of the things we're also seeing is the appraisals because of this appreciation, we've talked about it many times, but it continues to be a challenge for what I see. Two things. One is we don't have enough appraisers in our area to do it. And so they're consequently, with all the refinances and all the purchases and in the politest term, the invasion of buyers from the west side of the Cascades and other places in the country to the northwest, we're struggling. And those appraisers, they tend to look in the rearview mirror and we tend to look in the front windshield. And it's hard for them because they are historians and we are more on the front edge of that market. So what are some of the tricks or tips that you would recommend, whether it's VA, FHA, USDA, conventional, or jumbo, to at least get geared up for or create the right expectation around the challenge of appraisers?
Yeah, so when it comes to appraisers, the number one is just making sure that we as the lender are upfront with who we're asking to do the appraisal and figuring out what their timeline is. Values are never discussed. It's mainly just a timeline and figuring out, because there's such a limited amount of them, what are we looking for turn times, and really figuring that out with them so that they are able to accept the order and get it back in a reasonable amount of time, and also so that the appraiser is not, or so that report is not outsourced to more of a generic appraisal company, which could potentially have a 60 to 90 day turn time. One other thing that I've had some luck with is some agents like to kind of do some homework up front and maybe get some comps that might be selling and closing around the time that appraiser might be going out, and they may not catch them. They usually do a pretty good job at grabbing those, but if you're aware of some that might be closing in the area that support a value that the appraiser may not, see at that time, you can always, when they're going up and you show up with your buyers, potentially offer them, hey, I'm just making sure that you were aware that this particular home was closing in the area, and they probably are, but you never know. Because like you said, they are historians, and we've had it in the past where they may have not caught on to a certain home that was about to close. Maybe it was closing in a couple of days, and they could use it as a comp to support a more increased value because of how on a monthly basis everything's appreciating.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as we're coming to the end of the segment, it's all interesting. We're in a unique time in the land of COVID. I appreciate you calling in, Michael, with Prime Lending. What's the best way to get hold of you?
Yeah, 425-760-8824.
All right, sounds good. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another show. Take a deep breath, throw the phone in the drawer, get outside, smell some fresh air, and maybe show each other some grace and forgiveness once in a while, because it is an interesting time. Have a great day.
It's a bright new day, just came my way. Bought a new home, yeah, home, sweet home, oh, home, sweet home. Keller Williams, I love my dream home, home, sweet home.
The preceding program is sponsored in part by Keller Williams Prime Lending and Frontline Real Estate.